borough's official newspapers, and post in municipal building and on the borough's website. As permitted by the Open Public Meetings Act, this meeting is being held in person and broadcast online via Zoom video meetings. The option to attend via Zoom is a courtesy. If Zoom becomes unavailable and cannot be fixed, the council meeting will continue in person only. For those joining us via Zoom, please raise your hand during designated times to be recognized for a comment. Whether you're appearing in person or via Zoom, you must provide your name to be recognized. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Mary.
Councilmember Bonatakis. Councilmember Facey Blackwood. Here. Councilmember Forrest is not present as of yet. Councilmember Janot.
Here.
Councilmember Euro.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano.
Here.
And Mayor Portman.
Here. We have a couple of proclamations. Mary, I'm tempted to not give you this because you came here without Betsy. I almost called you. Please, Betsy's her dog, by the way. And we love each other. And this is a missed opportunity. Having said that, we will still give you this proclamation, Mary. First up, it's the Garden for Wildlife Month. Whereas the Borough of Red Bank recognizes that wildlife species are declining at an unprecedented rate. Globally, there are over 1 million species endangered with extinction, and 1/3 of North American wildlife species are at increased risk of extinction in the coming decades. And whereas the Borough of Red Bank recognizes that human health ultimately depends on well-functioning ecosystems and that biodiverse regions can better support food production, healthy soil, and air quality, and can foster healthy connections between humans and wildlife. And whereas the Borough of Red Bank is working to build a healthy, sustainable, and wildlife-friendly community that brings the many benefits of nature to all four corners of our world. And whereas Garden for Wildlife Month is a national initiative of the National Wildlife Federation that empowers Americans to support local wildlife like birds and pollinators by planting native plants in their garden and throughout the community to help restore and connect habitat. And whereas the Borough of Red Bank supports and promotes Garden for Wildlife Month through the community and encourages residents to participate, including certifying and maintaining their properties as a certified wildlife habitat with the National Wildlife Federation, and participating in Patchwork for Wildlife, a program of the nonprofit Candide's Garden and Friends that recognizes environmentally conscious homeowners with certificates of appreciation and works to collectively create an acre of environmentally beneficial habitat across the community, increasing local biodiversity and building a more resilient town. And whereas the Borough of Red Bank will continue to support local efforts that protect, restore, and conserve habitat and vital environmental resources, as well as foster a greater connection between residents and wildlife. Now, therefore, I, William Portman, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of the Borough of Red Bank, do hereby proclaim May as Garden for Wildlife Month in the Borough of Red Bank and encourage all residents to plant native plants and participate in community activities that support and celebrate healthy, sustainable, wildlife-friendly communities. With Mary's help, I've been planting a native elderberry hedge at my house. So Mary, checks on it when she walks the dog. It's nice to have another set of eyes. All right, we have one more proclamation, but before I read it, I'm going to invite Ms. June Sunquist and Ms. Ruth Ann Pastorella from the Red Bank Primary School to come on up to the table here and read us a letter that you guys wrote. Thank you for being here, by the way. Hold on, you got to, you want to just give them the handheld maybe, or? I think the handheld might be better. And actually, why don't you give them both the handhelds instead of the little ones, then they can each have a mic. Hold on a sec. Yeah, we'll move that. We don't want to miss a word, guys.
Dear Mayor Portman, we are third graders at Red Bank Primary School, and we are interested in having an official day celebrating third graders and everything we have accomplished throughout third grade. The way we got the idea is one day in reading group, we read an article about a girl who made third graders day an official tradition in Minnesota. That gave us the idea of having an official third graders day in Red Bank every year. We hope you consider making this a proclamation in the town of Red Bank to make it official. The date we would like to propose for this event is June 3rd, the day of our moving up ceremony. If June 3rd happens to be a weekend, we will observe Third Graders Day the first Wednesday of the month. Some things we would like to have at Red Bank Primary School to celebrate Third Graders Day are a small parade, a bubble station, and a picnic with watermelon pizza, soda, and rocket pops. The reason we want rocket pops is because the logo of the Red Bank Middle School is a rocket, and that is the school we will attend. Other schools in town can celebrate the way they want, but we would all celebrate on the same date. Third grade is a big year at Red Bank Primary School. It is our last year at this school. We are moving up to Red Bank Middle School, and it will be a big change. We hope you consider making an official Third Graders Day in Red Bank. Sincerely, June Sunquest and Ruth Ann Pascarella.
I have a question though. Now, this is your last year at the primary school. You go to the middle school next year? Wow. And another question. What's your favorite part about third grade?
The field trips. Yeah, we're going to Urban Air tomorrow.
All right. Well, you asked and the borough delivers. So let me read you your proclamation, okay? A proclamation from the Borough of Red Bank establishing an annual third grade day in the Borough of Red Bank. Whereas the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Red Bank recognize the importance of celebrating the achievements, growth, and milestones of the children within our community. And whereas third grade students June Sunquist and Ruth Ann Pascarella of Red Bank Primary School thoughtfully wrote to the Mayor requesting the establishment of an official third grade day in the Borough of Red Bank. And whereas June and Ruth Ann were inspired by reading about a similar tradition established in another community and demonstrated remarkable initiative, creativity, and civic engagement by proposing a celebration for all third grade students in Red Bank. And whereas the students shared that third grade is a meaningful and memorable year, marking the completion of their time at Red Bank Primary School and their transition to Red Bank Middle School, an exciting new chapter in their educational journey. And whereas the Mayor and Borough Council commend June and Ruth Ann, along with all third grade students, for their school pride, enthusiasm, and commitment to creating a positive community tradition. And whereas the Borough of Red Bank wishes to encourage traditions that strengthen community spirit and recognize the accomplishments and bright futures of our young residents. And whereas the students propose celebrating this occasion with activities that bring joy and togetherness, including parades, picnics, bubbles, and other celebrations that honor the conclusion of their elementary school experience. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Red Bank, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, that the first Wednesday in June of each year shall hereby be recognized as third grade day in the borough of Red Bank. And all residents, schools, families, and community organizations are encouraged to recognize and celebrate the accomplishments and bright futures of Red Bank's third grade students.
Someday wish upon a star, wake up with clouds so far behind me. Where trouble feels like lemon drops, high above the chimney top, to where you find your car when over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly.
We go from that to lead line replacement? We're going from that to lead line replacement?
These second graders just contacted me and they would like it to be second grader day also. So, yes, we are going from, sorry, Jackie, that's not a fair lead in for you.
No,
We're now going
We
into
need-
very exciting lead line replacement phase 4 overview.
very important.
It is very important. It's not very exciting, but it's very important. Yeah, and 1 second. Whenever you guys are done, you can stay, you can leave in the middle. You're welcome to stay. You're welcome to leave, whatever you guys want to do. Mission accomplished.
That's a hard act to follow.
Yes. Does Jackie get music too, Jim, for the presentation? No? All right.
Nancy, can you see our screen? Just confirming the screen share.
Yes.
Okay, great.
All right, I think I had a presentation. Do you have it? Ah, there it is. There you go. All right. So Mayor, Council, thank you so much for having me. Jim asked if I would come tonight and just give an overview because we're getting ready to, I know tonight, I think you're doing your second reading on the bond for phase 4. So I wanted to give you an overview of all 4 phases just to show you what we've accomplished so far collectively, all of the borough, because this has definitely been, years of test pitting and then lead service line replacement, and we'll give you a feel for how many you have left and, when we think you were well ahead of your milestone. So, but we're going to show you what it's going to take to get to the end of this phase. So I think the presentation, there we go, hold on, just so that the audience can see it as well. All right.
Nancy, you gave me a nod on that? Thumbs up? Okay, great, thanks.
All right, so the agenda, since if you go to the next slide, the agenda, we're gonna first just review why we're doing this. Not only is it good for, basically, I think everybody saw what happened in Flint, Michigan. So we'll talk about the regulations and what spurred this in New Jersey, and it's now federal, that every state in the US is now going through this. Pardon?
Great for third graders.
Yes, it is. And then the overview of phase 1, then phase 2, then phase 3, and then we'll talk about phase 4. So if you go to the next slide, this all came, from the Safe Water Drinking Act. It authorized the EPA to establish the regulations for public water systems here in Red Bank. You own your own public water system. So the first set of rules was published in 2021. That's LCRR, stands for Lead and Copper Rule Revisions. And those required 100% lead replacement within 10 years. So at that time, 10 years would have been 2031. Since then, there's been new regulations passed. We'll get into that in a second. But basically, you also had your initial service inventory of the lines under that LCRR due by October 16th, 2024. And then after that, you would have notifications due 30 days after that. So you're going to remember, well, 2024, why did we start in 2021? That's because back in 2021, Governor Murphy signed into law statute that required that in New Jersey that we started this process earlier. We didn't wait till October of 2024. In New Jersey, we started this right after the legislation. So you can remember back in 2022 doing lead service line inventories and sending out notifications. But once we hit 2024, in addition to sending those notification letters just to people that had lead, we also sent them to unknowns as well, people that we didn't know whether they had lead, galvanized, or unknown. And the reason for that is it also holds everybody accountable to figure out what you have. So if you recall, we were doing test pitting in order to try to identify what every service line in the borough was. We did test pitting to identify not only what was in the street, but was also on what we call the customer side, on the property of the customer. So we've been doing this since 2022, and we're going to go through all of those programs for you. So there's also new rules that were adopted. They have a compliance date of November 2027. That's the lead and copper rule improvements. Those are going to have a whole new set of rules, but you're already ahead of the game. So it would have pushed out the 10 years till 2037, but not for New Jersey. New Jersey, Governor Murphy's had that law. The next governor hasn't changed that law. So in New Jersey, we're still shooting for getting all lead service lines replaced by 2031. And the way that you're required to do that is you're supposed to do 10% a year. You're well ahead of your 10%. Okay. So if you go to the next slide, these are the things that are going to be due in 2026. You're going to have on July 10th an updated lead service line inventory. We're basically going to say this is how many lead you have now. This is how many unknowns you still have, and we'll go through those numbers in a second, and we're going to submit that to NJDEP. You're going to have a progress report that summarizes every year, and that will also be due in July. We'll also have a plan that we put together every year that shows your progress and how we're going to prioritize what's left and how we're going to accomplish everything by that 2031 date. 30 days after that, in August, we'll be sending out letters to anyone that still has lead or anyone that's unknown and galvanized, because galvanized, it's complicated, but galvanized is also considered lead for the purposes of the regulations. So if you look at the table below, this gives you a snapshot of where you're at as of today. You still have 445 unknowns. The reason for that is in phase 3, we had planned to identify and dig the remaining 445 unknowns. Around that time, Monmouth County was also paving, if you remember, all of West Front Street and further. So we decided to get ahead of that because you would have had a 5-year moratorium. So the decision was made, instead of digging those 445 in the phase 3 program, let's go ahead and replace all the lead service lines before the county comes in and paves. So we got ahead of that entire stretch so that you don't have to cut into a newly paved road. And so that was the reason for that. So we will be putting those 445 unknowns into your phase 4 program in order to dig the ones that are remaining. These are very difficult ones to find. That's why they weren't found in prior phases. Either the curb box is missing, they're going to have to attach trace and probably use a metal detector and trace wire to try to locate these. These are the ones that are tough to find in the borough. And then some of them are for some condo complexes and things where there's whole groups of what we would have considered private, but it still is under your jurisdiction. So we still do have to identify them. But more than likely, because of the age of when those buildings were built, we do think a lot of those will not be lead. You have 2,910 that are non-lead. So 77% have already been identified and are not, or no longer or not lead. Either we've already replaced them, and we'll get into that in a second, or they're non-lead. They're copper, they're mostly copper services. The remaining 409 that we know are lead, there's 205 that are full lead replacements and 204 that are partial. So we're going to go through those because out of those, some of those you have what we call that you won't need right of entry for, meaning that they're in the street, and others you will need right of entry forms signed because they're on private property. So that totals your 3,764 total services in the borough. If you go to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about what you did in phase one, just phase two, and then phase three, and then we'll get into phase four. So in phase one, you started with 245 lead service line replacements, and then you ended up adding an additional 100 water service replacements for a total of 345 lead service line replacements in that phase one. You also did over 1,000 test pits. On that, you were able to apply for iBank funding. And if you recall, because of the rules associated with iBank funding, you were able to get principal forgiveness for half of the money that you spent on phase one under the iBank program. For phase two, you went back to iBank and asked them, could you increase the loan to 8.8 million and do whatever was remaining in that census tract, but also go ahead and test pit in the remaining census tracts in the borough. So that's what you did. What they had you do those, they had you break it into two separate phases, a bid proposal A, so that you could get your 50% forgiveness in that track, and then a bid proposal B where you got a low interest loan. And so you basically, in bid proposal A, test pitted another 37, and you replaced the last 177 lead service lines in that census tract. In the rest of the borough, you replaced 55, and then you test pitted 1,293. So then if you go to the next, phase three, which just wrapped up, for that, you also were able to achieve funding. You got $250,000 in fiscal year 2022 funding. These were both congressional awards, as well as just under $1 million in fiscal year 2024 funding. So you got a total of $1.2 million in federal funding for that project. You had a match 20%, and you were able to put that project out to bid. You replaced 240 lead service lines, and you test pitted another 225. You were going to test pit a lot more, but this is the one where we ended up pulling the remainder out in order to get ahead of one of the paving programs. So now that brings you to your phase four. In phase four, you've received additional congressional spending money, a grant of $1 million. You also, if you recall, had done some adjustments to your water and sewer rates, so you're able to bond even more than that. You can do about a $2 million program, 2.4. But that includes everything, your soft costs and bonding costs and everything else, bond counsel costs. You're going to need a lot of right of entries because these last ones are going to be the ones that are the hardest, because we have, if you look at the bottom of the slide, you can see that we have 114 that we don't need right of entries. So those are going to definitely be the easiest ones to do. But you have enough funding that you can do more than those 114, and we'd like to try to chip away at the rest of the lead service lines, the over 400 that you have left, by trying to obtain right of entries. So we already started our efforts to get right of entry. It's interesting because we are emailing, we're calling, we're going to be knocking on doors, but not everybody feels comfortable answering the door, right, for someone trying to hand you a piece of paper and asking you to sign a legal agreement. So I think it's going to take time. We did call. We got a lot of people hanging up because they think you're a telemarketer. I mean, why wouldn't they, right? But you're calling, trying to get them to sign a right of entry. But we did even today, like every day we get a few. We get 5, 6, every day, with people eventually picking up the phone and talking to us. So we will work with the borough to try to get the word out that we are trying to get these right of entries so that we can replace a lead service line that's on your property. So like Mayor will obviously have you sign one, right? We'll have people sign these and get these so that we can replace any lead service line that is on like a property side. So right now, just from calling and emailing, and we just started in May, we have 11 ROEs for full services and 6 for partials. So we've already achieved that in just the couple weeks that we started. But we need probably about 150 more. That's a lot in order to have a substantial program. Now, what we can do is say, listen, let's say we get 50 and we decide, okay, we're going to do a smaller program. Let's get this started and keep calling. We could also do that. But basically, your phase 4, we would like to be able to get another 150 right of entries. So we've been working with Jim. Jim had us in touch with Yvonne and everybody trying to gather as many phone numbers and emails. And really, it's all hands on deck trying to get the residents to sign these so that we can replace more lead service lines. And in a nutshell, that's your program. So you can see just roughly where phase 1 and 2 were, and now we're 2, 3, and 4 will be. There will be a few that overlap back into the other area where 1 and 2 were, where maybe we couldn't get a right of entry signed, or there was a challenge with, a reason that someone didn't feel comfortable. So we are getting a little bit further with the right of entries, but that's basically what your phase 4 will be. And so, any questions?
Jackie, thank you. Very thorough, and we appreciate it. Quick question for you. On one of the first slides, you said we still have, maybe it was like 500 unknown or
Yeah.
four something.
Yeah.
Do you have an estimate on what you think? I mean, because you started to say a lot of them are newer buildings, so
Yeah.
probably.
I don't think you're going to have, so in the borough, we were, in the beginning, when we were test pinning, we were getting like 40% of them were lead. I don't think with these remaining 400 and what's the exact number? I think it was 445. I don't think it's going to be 40%, but I could be wrong. I think it's going to, yeah, we're planning for it being 40% for worst case. So like any budgeting that Jim and Tom are considering is assuming that, because I think it would be silly not to. But looking at the age of some of the buildings, also the fact that we can't even find a curb box, meaning that, maybe the service isn't even there anymore, and so we are hopeful that it won't be 40% for that.
Anyone else have any questions for Jackie?
Just one thing, Jackie, I know we have the benefit of having Ingenuity as an engineer in town with us. And again, thank you for everything you do for the borough, and the fact that you're close and nearby, you have intimate knowledge of what this borough needs and how the project should progress. And you have you're invested in this project for other reasons, I think, because you're here. But you also, without naming, municipalities, you do this work in either at least one other municipality,
Yeah.
four municipalities where you're doing lead service line replacement. Like, how would you say that borough is tracking, like the Red Bank in their progress, and even what you're hearing from around the state, where everybody has this deadline
Right.
that we're working towards?
I think you guys are ahead of the curve. I mean, there's some municipalities that got a lot of funding right out of the gate, right? And those were some of the big cities that got a lot of funding right out of the gate. But I would say this borough, as soon as the legislation was adopted, you were right on top of getting funding. And so, I mean, you went after iBank funding the minute that there was a law in the books. And so you have consistently, if you look, each program, you were able to achieve funding and pursue and be able to do decent sized programs. And I think that the fact that you've been on top of that, and a lot of other municipalities, maybe
Name
haven't
names,
even
Jackie.
identified.
Name names.
Maybe haven't even identified all of their unknowns yet, right? And now are just realizing, because they have to send letters. I think up until you had to send letters to all of the unknowns, that maybe it wasn't as inconvenient for some. Around this area, you're seeing a lot of the engineering firms are kind of encouraging, their municipalities to get on top of it. But you're in phase 4 with the municipalities we're working with. I only know one other that's in phase 4, other than the ones that jumped on it right out of the gate. So you guys are doing very well.
Anyone have any questions for Jackie? We could always open up. No? Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much, Jackie.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Paulo is going to give us a native plant presentation. Come on down.
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Hi, Paulo.
Hi, Nancy. Is it a coincidence that Red Bank Rockets and then there's the Rocket Ice Boat, or was the middle school named after the ice boat? Anybody know? No. Second question, is it too late to update the proposed ordinance to include rock candy for the Environmental Commission? Because it's like, not fair that the third graders get it and we don't.
Yes,
I
you
mean,
can always amend it.
okay. All right, and so thank you for having me. And on behalf of the Red Bank Environmental Commission, I'm here to discuss the proposed native plants ordinance. My name is Paulo Rodriguez Heyman. I am one of the commissioners. The timing here is good. Of course, the best time to do it is now, and would have been better to do it, a little bit before when we had the flurry of development, but it's still apropos to pass this ordinance, we believe. And so with that, I can go ahead and just give a brief overview of what's in the proposed ordinance and happy to answer any questions. So next slide, please. Okay. And the presentation really mirrors what's in the ordinance. I'm not going to go into incredible detail, but the reason why we're proposing that this gets passed, like why are native plants so important? Well, they're the plants that evolved in our area, and the birds and insects and animals, they co-evolved with the plants. And so just like, Mary's Patchwork for Wildlife is looking to create a patchwork of native plants, this will encourage that patchwork to grow. So it will encourage a more resilient ecosystem and environment. So it provides food and shelter and habitat for the local flora, for the animals, the fauna, and there's also benefits for reduced irrigation. The plants don't need to be watered as much. They don't need as many fertilizers and pesticides. This proposed ordinance also has a component for invasive species, which we'll get into. And there is a documented decline of birds and insects, and part of that largely attributed to a reduction in habitat. So this helps to address that. And as many of you are probably aware, the state of New Jersey passed an Invasive Species Management Act, and this is intended to complement that, not conflict with it in any way. The primary goals would be to require native plants for certain developments, prohibit invasive species for those same developments. And I forget what the third thing is. Nancy's tile is just right over there, but it's actually species diversity. That's what it is. I knew it. Okay. Nancy's floating. Yeah, and this is also, it makes economic sense because native plants, there's a lower maintenance cost, lower landscape maintenance cost. So for a multitude of reasons, this is a good, appropriate ordinance for our borough. Next slide, please. So the native plants, the proposed ordinance has some definitions. One of the main goals here is to make this ordinance easy to follow, accessible for people that, for laymen that don't have a scientific background. That's by design. For people that don't know what a keystone species is it's sort of like a triple word score in Scrabble, where it's not only a native plant, but it also really supports the keystone species of caterpillars, which is a critical bird food, and native bees. Otherwise, we did send this to the borough's engineer, CME, and their tree expert as well chimed in. We pared it back to allow for cultivars, again, making it easy to follow and practical as well. We also spoke with one of our counterparts at Eatontown who have a very similar ordinance on the books, and it was well received. They didn't get blowback from the development community. So we would expect there to be a similar outcome here. And one of the main questions people are going to want to know, who does this apply to? It applies to sites that have formal site plans, major subdivision approvals before the planning or zoning boards. Who does it not apply to? It would not apply to minor subdivision variances, applications without formal site plan approval. It does not apply to, importantly, existing residential properties. We're not asking homeowners to rip out their ornamental plantings and replace them with native plants. If they want to, of course, that would be encouraged, but it is not a requirement. Same thing with vegetable gardens, fruit trees, and the like, athletic fields, planters, flagpoles, and things of that nature. Next slide, please. So from section 4 of the ordinance, this talks about, getting into the nuts and bolts of what is the requirement. It's really just the lists of native plants. Like, where does one find these lists? Who comes up with them? Who maintains them? And fortunately, it doesn't fall on any of us. There's three primary lists that are identified in the ordinance, and there's hyperlinks to them. So the cool thing there is there's experts that are maintaining these lists, and the lists are also updated as needed. As there's changing climate conditions, for example, where plants that were not considered native, if the climate warms, could be considered native in the future, and so forth. So the Native Plant Society of New Jersey, Rutgers, and the National Wildlife Federation all maintain these lists, and those are all identified in the proposed ordinance. The one thing with cultivars is that they are permitted in the proposed ordinance, but crossing a hybrid of a non-native species would not count as a native species. Kind of a bit of a detail there, but don't want to get lost in the weeds. I just, pun intended. Again, the keystone species and the deer-resistant natives are not required, but encouraged. And next slide, please. And just to make mention of the state's recent, the Invasive Species Management Act, the way that is being rolled out is sequentially. And so the current stage is they're targeting nurseries to prohibit them from selling invasive species. And then in the future, it is going to roll out to be applicable in circumstances like the ones that we're proposing. But the way we're addressing it is having it applicable now to prevent these site plans from including invasive species in their proposed development plans. Similarly, not to conflict with, but to complement the borough's own Chapter 242 on bamboo and invasive plants. Next slide, please. This is the last slide. One other key component, so of the three key components, it's encouraging or requiring native plants in certain circumstances, prohibiting invasives, and then the third one is species diversity, and that's just kind of common sense. So if proposed development has 100 plants and they're all native, if they're all the same plant, that's also sort of a detriment to the natural environment. Like, we want it to somewhat mimic the natural environment with species diversity. So it's a pretty easy, formula there of 25% can't be replicated. So if there's 10 plants, then you have to have 4 different species. Fairly easy to follow. one of the comments from the borough's engineer was making sure that we have a waiver provision, which we do. So this is not intended to be a one-size-fits-all. We understand that there's going to be anomalies and circumstances where a waiver should be granted. That's obviously up to you all. And then, just similarly to how the Environmental Commission and Shade Tree Commission have the opportunity to review and provide our feedback to the council, we would expect that same procedure here, and happy to support, with our comments on the requested waivers, but there could be waivers for site constraints or safety, any number of reasons. Obviously, we would try to discourage that, but leaving the option open. That native managed planting, section 8 of the ordinance, is just that letting people know they're not weeds, but they do need to be maintained and managed properly and not overgrown. And then there's some standard legalese in sections 9 and 10. And last but not least, section 11, the effective date proposed would be 30 days after the final adoption of the publication of the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Paolo. I have a question for you. Can you go back one? Snap. A question about bamboo.
Yes.
When it said, that's one page.
Are you going to bring up my house? Because I'm eradicating it this weekend.
No, not your
Okay.
house. Well, that's my question. So it says the borough code governs borough-wide restrictions on planting, containment, and removal. Right. So does it just mean you have to follow a specific way to remove the bamboo? Right. Okay. Because I have a neighbor on Mechanic Street who took me to his backyard. He was like, "This stuff is running wild."
It's crazy.
Someone else had planted. So
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Right. So with bamboo, I believe it has to be maintained or you can't plant it. But I bought a house that had an existing patch of bamboo on a steep slope, so it's tricky. And Mary, did you want to say a couple quick words on native plants? Do you have time for?
Yeah, she's got to come up though and doing the microphone so the people playing along at home can hear.
If I missed anything.
You missed anything? This one?
Either
This
one,
is probably the-
that's fine too.
So I just want to say that I'm extremely enthusiastic about both this ordinance and Mayor, about your proclamation, because we are making great progress in Red Bank. I know you want to be leaders in this area, and already we're working on getting a national certification for wildlife community, and we've made great progress in that direction, partnering with the Environmental Commission and the Patchwork for Wildlife group, which is a group of a number of awesome volunteers, 2 of which are with me today, who are out in the neighborhoods, talking to people about their gardens, talking about how to help them, providing events. And so this is really an important step. The goal for us is to create an acre of land of new habitat for wildlife, and we're doing that 1 yard at a time. But with what you're doing, you're adding the business side of this, business community, to contribute to that acre of wildlife. And I have information for people who may be interested in knowing more. Questions?
Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
Just a comment, I know that this has been of interest to the Environmental Commission for a really long time, and I just appreciate how well this was written. I think it's sensible, but also specifically, it always felt tricky how to handle the list of species issue. And I think this worked really well by referencing these 3 professionally managed lists, and it makes it flexible over time. So that makes it really easy to support if all of the rest wasn't easy enough. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Next up, can I have a motion to open the floor for public comment on agenda items only?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone have any questions or comments about agenda items only? Anyone online, Jim? No? Okay, can I have a motion to close the floor for public comment on agenda items only?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from May 14th, 2026?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next up, a final reading for and public hearing for ordinance 2026-13 entitled A Bond Ordinance Providing for Various Roadway Improvements in and for the Borough of Red Bank in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,060,000, therefore including grants from the State of New Jersey Department of Transportation in the amount of $398,638, and authorizing the issuance of $616,062 in bonds or notes for the borough to finance part of the costs thereof. That's a long title for an ordinance. This ordinance was introduced on May 14th. Can I have a motion to open the floor for public comment on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone have any questions or comments on ordinance 2026-13? No? Anyone online, Jim? All right, can I have a motion to close the public comment on ordinance 2026-13?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then I have a motion to approve on final reading and adoption of ordinance 2026-13.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Janot?
Yes.
Councilmember Euro?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano?
Yes.
And Mayor Portman?
Yes. Thank you. Next up is a final reading and public hearing for ordinance 2026-14 entitled A Bond Ordinance Providing for Improvements to Municipal Parks in and for the Borough of Red Bank in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $450,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $427,500 in bonds or notes of the borough to finance part of the cost thereof. This ordinance was introduced on May 14th, 2026. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing for this ordinance only?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone have any questions or comments on ordinance 2026-14? Yes, come on up, Charles. I think that one's off. Is there a little on and off switch on it, Charles? Or you can also use the other mic right there. No, yeah, that one's probably off too. You want to just, there we go.
Yeah, hello. Charles Janjigian, 165 Spring Street. First, I just want to thank everybody for all your help and support the last time I was sitting here.
Okay, let's not have a repeat.
No, we don't want any repeats, and that is what happens with an epileptic seizure. You all handled it well. I've been living with this for 45, 50 years. I don't even know now. I forfeited my driver's license, so we're okay there.
I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah. Let me see. Let's go back to Marine Park now. We will need certified inspections by the state. Will we?
I just want to interrupt you 1 second. This particular ordinance is about Count Basie Park.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was about the,
Yeah,
The
I mean,
Marine
you're
Park.
welcome to, as we go for, when we get to the public comment near the end, you're welcome to.
Okay,
have this
thank you very much.
conversation. Great, thank you. Anyone online, Jim? Can I have a motion to close the public comment on ordinance 2026-14?
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve on final reading and adoption ordinance 2026-14? Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Councilmember Euro?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano?
Yes.
And Mayor Portman.
Yes. Next up, we have a final reading and public hearing for ordinance 2026-15 entitled "A Bond Ordinance Providing for the Lead Service Line Replacement Program for the Water and Sewer Utility in and for the Borough of Red Bank in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $2.4 million therefore, including a grant from the fiscal year 2026 Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development Funding and Lead Service Line Grant Program in the amount of $1 million, and authorizing the issuance of $1,300,000 in bonds or notes of the borough to finance part of the cost thereof. This ordinance was introduced on May 14th, 2026. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone have any questions on the ordinance 2026-15?
I just want to say, Mayor, this is about the presentation that you just saw from Jackie Floor, which the borough did receive $1 million in grant funding for this as well.
Excellent, thank you. Anyone online, Jim? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Can I have a motion to approve on final reading and adoption? I'm
Second.
sorry, can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve on final reading and adoption ordinance 2026-15?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Councilmember Euro?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano?
Yes.
And Mayor Portman.
Yes. And finally, for adoption is a public hearing and final reading for ordinance 2026-16 entitled "A Bond Ordinance Providing for Various 2026 Water and Sewer Utility Acquisitions and Improvements by and in the Borough of Red Bank in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $2 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,900,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof." This ordinance was introduced on May 14th, 2026. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing, public comment on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone have any questions or comments on ordinance 2026-16? Anyone online, Jim? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve on final reading and adoption ordinance 2026-16?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Councilmember Euro?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano?
Yes.
Mayor Portman.
Yes. And a couple of ordinances to introduce. First up is first reading and introduction for ordinance 2026-18 entitled "An Ordinance of the Borough of Red Bank to amend the borough's planning and development regulations to repeal and replace sections of Chapter 490 Planning and Development Regulations." Can I have a motion to open the public comment on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Actually, we're not, I'm sorry. We're not doing, yeah. I'm sorry.
We have comments. though,
Yeah,
possibly,
right. Well, we'll do the public hearing on this on June 11th. Can I have a motion to approve on introduction ordinance 2026-18?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Councilmember Euro?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano?
Yes.
And Mayor Portman.
Yes. Again, public hearing for this ordinance will be held on June 11th, 2026. Next up is a first reading and introduction for ordinance 2026-19 entitled "An Ordinance Amending Chapter 490 Planning and Development Regulations to revise the borough's land use regulations to promote the cultivation of native plants and to prohibit the planting of invasive species." Can I have a motion to approve ordinance 2026-19 on introduction?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis,
Yes.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood,
Yes.
Councilmember Janone,
Yes.
Councilmember Euro,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano.
Yes.
And Mayor Portman.
Yes. Thank you. Public hearing for this ordinance will be held on June 11th, 2026. Next up, we have a bunch of resolutions. Anybody need to pull anything out to highlight, or are we okay approving on the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'm okay with consent agenda.
Thank you. Good, everyone good? Okay, can I have a motion to approve resolution 26-106 through 26-116 on the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis,
Yes.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood,
Yes.
Councilmember Janone,
Yes.
Councilmember Euro,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano,
Yes.
and Mayor Portman.
Yes. I guess we're jumping to public comment, huh? Can I have a motion to open the floor for public comment?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Charles, now would be the time. That wasn't too long, was it?
Okay, where were we? Marine Park, public hearing, everything is going along well. There's a lot of dirt we are dealing with, but I think that Monarch is doing a good job. However, going forward, is Red Bank our DPU? I talked with Terrence today. He sounded quite confident that we will be able to provide a certificate to the state for Safe Playground Act, I think it's called, something like that. And also to the insurance, the liability, if it's a countywide, statewide, Red Bank, they will most likely want certificates of training and whatnot. And our DPU will be able to provide that.
You're talking about for the safety of the playground
The
equipment?
playground equipment, mostly the zip line is going to be the big issue.
If you're picturing like a zip line, like, at the top of a
Through the
tree going
rainforest,
across the
yeah.
canopy, it's
Mr.
not,
Mayor, it's about 12 feet high. It's not a toy.
right.
It's a real machine that somebody can hurt themselves. The zip line can come offline. It's a complicated piece of machinery. To brush it off lightly like that, I think is wrong. Either way, so still our utility employees, they'll be fully certified to provide to the state and to insurance for the playground.
No, our public works employees are not going to be certified in playground safety inspection. That's not their role. We'll make sure that the proper playground safety inspectors are employed like all of our playgrounds. Safety equipment is certified. We have the joint insurance fund that comes out.
Yeah, I
And
saw that.
the joint insurance fund comes out and does a playground inspection of all of our playgrounds every year for any deficiencies. They're the ones that are certified in that. So we're part of that joint insurance fund. So any deficiencies or anything that we have, we get a list and we get a time to remediate those. Obviously, Marine Park is going to be built to a state-of-the-art standard right now.
It's gorgeous. Compton's doing a great job.
But
Yeah.
that ongoing inspection will happen from our joint insurance fund.
Okay. I just wanted to stay on top of that zip line.
And I'm glad you
We'll
got
have a
the
fun
chance to
time.
talk to Terrence today about that.
Yeah, he sounded confident, and I think it's going forward. And what did we say? Spring 2027? The opening? No, earlier than that.
1
right?
month.
What's that?
1 month.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're close. Very good. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks, Charles.
you. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Yes. I see a hand. Come on up. All right.
Barbara
Barbara Boas, 135 Branch Avenue. I'm not here to do anything except to tell you that our police department are total gentlemen. I had a bit of a playing my age this morning, and I screwed up when I left the house, and I didn't put my alarm system on correctly. I was halfway down Highway 35, and I'm getting all these calls and stuff. Obviously, I couldn't call. And I came home, and the police were there waiting and wanted to make sure everything was all right. Wanted to come in the house, made sure I have no idea the gentleman's name, but he was a perfect gentleman. And I compliment the police department. They get enough kicks in the butt. People have to know that they actually are people, and were very nice. And I felt like a total fool, but that's all right. He didn't dwell on that part. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm sure if Chief's not watching, we'll make sure we pass it on. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Jim, anyone online? Anyone? No? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
I have a second? All in favor? Christina, what do you got for us?
Honestly, I'm still thinking about our third grade guests. That was probably the most adorable thing seen all year. Other than that, no report from me, actually.
All right. I can just say, Ben, there's no confusion today.
Taking it back. So this is my my chance. Thank you, Mayor. Start off with a broad walk update. In my opinion and many others, it's been an amazing start to the 2026 season. I was just down there with my kids at the kids takeover. And I continue to be surprised. I shouldn't be surprised, but as designed, the turnout for each of the different programmed events that I've been to, at least in the past couple of weeks, has been very impressive. Everyone's running a tight ship, and it almost seems to be self-policing to a degree, where we're putting out a really nice product for people and they, treat it with respect. Where, in past years, I think it might have been easier to toss trash around and whatnot, but, appreciate the hard work everyone put into it and continues to put into it. And we're gonna be committed to keep making it better and better. Some data to back that up. We have our Placer AI technology that we partner with River Center on now. So we're able to see the visitors that come in and out of town and where they dwell. Friday, May 15th, which was the kickoff, in the comparison, the same day on 2025, there was 2,300 visitors in 2025 compared to 3,500 this past year, or this current year. It's a 52% increase year over year. Saturday, May 16th, the next day, was Dog Walk on Broadwalk. We had 3,300 in 2025, and this year we had 5,400, and that's a 64% increase. So that's really promising, and I think it'll just keep getting more and more solidified as the summer goes on. The average dwell time for those visitors was approximately an hour and a half, and the majority of visitors are from Red Bank, obviously, Middletown, Little Silver, Homedale, Eatontown, and Freehold. So casting a wide net and creating a downtown for more than just Red Bank, which is really unique. Continuing with the downtown, long-awaited bookstore in Red Bank opening, well-deserved, looks awesome. Crazy Story Books. The ribbon cutting's this Saturday, May 30th at 10 a.m. That's on 42 Monmouth Street, where Famabilia used to be, right across from Toast. So I'm sure they'll get plenty of support, but it looks like a really nice space, and really pumped to have it in town. While walking around today, I noticed that Aura Coffee Roasters opened up on Broad Street, where Good Life Organic used to be. Seems like an awesome vibe. Sit there with a laptop and hang out all day. They have big accordion doors opening up to their outdoor area. So it's a really nice thought and effort put into it, and excited to see people patronize that. And last but not least, this morning, Mayor, I saw you there at the Habcore ribbon cutting for their latest property on 2527 Wall Street. I just want to say it's great to see their work continue with the borough. They fill an important gap, I would say, in the larger housing crisis that often doesn't get focused on. And I'm really proud that we support their continued mission. So that's all I got. And Marine Park's looking awesome. Really pumped for that. So
Thank you. Laura?
I think the library's bathroom is finally fixed, if I am correct. Did you hear about that, Jim? It is, it's fixed. Yay. Took a while, but it's done. So that's the update on the library. We haven't had our meeting this month yet. Dog walk on Broadwalk, which Ben mentioned, was really fun. I was there all day. A lot of people showed up and participated. The Mayor's Wellness, they're actually having a event tonight, resources for seniors at the Parker Clinic. So that's going on as we speak. And I think that's about it for, we're looking forward to lunch breaks, giving out knapsacks and sneakers in August. And so we're planning for that and being part of that day. But that's about it for us. Thanks.
Thank you. Nancy, you got anything?
Yes, I do, Mayor. Well, the EC Green Team is grateful to see the native plant ordinance introduced. I'm very proud of the way that they went about it. They came up with a sample ordinance, shared it through planning and zoning and engineering to get their comment and feedback. So it came through as a pretty solid ordinance. Very proud of the work they did with that. The Shade Tree Committee is very happy to see the new trees being planted in Marine Park. So, you know, they're happy to know that 55 new trees are coming in. Also, I received a request, and I'll be sharing it with council, is that Clean Water Action is looking for local electeds to support the New Jersey Warehouse and Port Pollution Reduction Act, AKA the Kids Clean Air Zone policy. That would be the Senate Bill S2339A, Assembly A2740. So I think that's pretty interesting. And the second thing, or the last thing rather, keeping it short and sweet, I want to thank everybody who's out there fighting the good fight at Delaney Hall to help protect our immigrants. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Excited that we've moved forward with our push carts. Two were awarded tonight. Blue Range Hospitality, describing their food. You know, they're having American food, so looking forward to that. And then Jalapeno Snacks, which is going to have Mexican snacks. And one of my favorite things, which is Fruta Locas. So very excited. Great, refreshing snack for the summer. And yeah, shut it down. Shut down Delaney Hall, close the camps. Thank you.
Went to the wake of my neighbor Bob Tellerico. Really nice turnout. It was important to a lot of people. The apparati, what's plural for apparatus? All right. Were in front of his house on Harrison today with the ladders extended and the big American flag flying. It was a really beautiful, beautiful tribute to a beloved figure. He will be missed. Yeah, as Ben mentioned, we're at the Hapcore ribbon cutting on Wall Street, and yeah, it'll be providing homes for 3 families. It also meets some of our low-income housing requirements, and always happy to partner with Hapcore. They have a couple properties in town, and they're a wonderful organization. And I will not be here at the next council meeting. You'll be in the capable hands of Deputy Mayor Trigiano. I'm going to Los Angeles to catch the opening game of the World Cup, and I'm not apologizing for it. So we'll see if I can, maybe I can stream in from the meeting. Yeah, that's all I got. Jim, you got anything to add?
Yes, sir. First, I want to thank the mayor and council for their support with the passing of the resolution, for working with you guys for 3 more years. I'm truly looking forward to it. And what's that? A little thing like that, yeah. It's really big, and truthfully, it means a lot for the staff here, that they know the continuity of leadership that's in this building. And I'm looking forward to being at the helm of that for another 3 years. With that said, today I attended the New Jersey Municipal Managers Association mini conference. It was a half-day conference in Edison, where we talked about redevelopment projects, rehabilitation projects, how towns navigate those. and the different nuances in those agreements with developers. So it was good to get in a room with a bunch of municipal managers and professionals to kick around how other people are handling and navigating those situations too. Just yesterday, we had our Public Works celebration at DPU to honor our Public Works employees with a barbecue for National Public Works Week. So again, I just want to give my thanks and appreciation to all the hardworking men and women over there at Public Works under the leadership of Terrence and Jerry, who do a tremendous job just day in and day out. This past week also too met with our grant writer and engineer about going over the 2026 New Jersey DOT grants and discussing projects and using our Violytics program to identify streets in the borough that are in need of resurfacing and repair. In that grading system, we were able to kind of hone in on certain streets that are worse off than others and prioritize those. And then at that same vein, I asked then our engineer, Mike Reiser, to take a look at what obviously the subterranean conditions are that we have to consider as well in those projects. It's unlikely that we really just want to focus on a resurfacing project. Sometimes there's a need for that, but I really want to take a holistic look at the street from the subterranean infrastructure as well too, so that we're making, good investments with our money that's just beyond asphalt. Mayor, hats off to you for emceeing a great Memorial Day ceremony this past Monday, and to our comms team here, Adriana, Fatima, and Joanna. They did a great job pulling that ceremony together, and it's always a great tribute to have in the borough and get a bunch of our community partners and the community together as well. I want to remind everybody that June 18th and June 19th, we have our World Cup watch parties. Those are going to be at Count Basie Park. We have a really big event planned for that, utilizing our $50,000 grant from NJ Economic Development, and that we were awarded from the state. So we're going to do a tremendous job there, just bringing a great community event at Count Basie Park. But at the same time, we're also bringing a watch party to Broadwalk on June 11th. So that's going to be kicked off too with Brian Kirk and the Jerks as the band act to go along with that watch party. So it's going to be 3 great events utilizing that grant. And just another highlight of just the great work that these employees do here. We were just awarded again $10,500 grant through the Central Jersey Health Insurance Fund for our employee wellness program. So that's the 2nd year in a row, and we do a lot of great events for the employees here, and it's really appreciated, and it goes a long way. And really, we have an emphasis on our employee wellness, and I think it makes a big difference for the culture of the organization. That's all, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Jim, I just have to say it makes a huge difference. As somebody who's been serving for 7 years, you have completely changed the culture of the borough. And I believe that anybody could ask any employee of the borough if that is the case, and every single employee of the borough would say that you have accomplished that. And I remember when you first started, some of them having that hesitation, people being like, is this really who this guy is? And you truly are. You truly are that phenomenal of a leader. And we are so fortunate to have you in Red Bank. So thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you for doing your contract with us. We could not be accomplishing what we are accomplishing right now as a borough if we did not have you. So, and the employee wellness program is paramount, and our employees appreciate it so much. But I saw this place when it was at its lowest, and I am seeing it now in a completely different way, and you did that. So I really hope that you absorb that, and it's a beautiful thing. So thank you.
We're very grateful for you, Jim.
Yes.
Bless you.
Thank you, Jim. We're really grateful for you.
It's going to fade back into the...
Anything else? No. Can I have a motion to adjourn? I have a second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, now we
Good
can have a
night.
nice chat. That's all right. Oh, what's that?
Bye.
Oh, bye. Oh. Charles, what was your question?